اتفضل يا كابتن شريف. كابتن شريف.
عندي هشام. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Good evening, everyone. Today, I would like to welcome 3 of our African volleyball pillars who will discuss a pertinent and an accurate subject, which is we are coaching the way we were coached. So I would like to welcome Mr. Sherif El-Shemerly, who will present this topic. Then with him, he will be followed by Mayam Blaise, who will also interact and who will make the translation in French language. Then we will have also, and we have the pleasure also to welcome Mathues, who will be in charge and lead your questions. So before giving the floor to our guests, I would like just to advise our coaches to think really and to have some distance in this subject and try to understand what is beyond this title. Donc bonsoir tout le monde. J'ai le plaisir de recevoir ce soir 3 piliers du volleyball africain qui vont traiter d'un sujet qui est très très intéressant et très important, savoir nous entraînant ou nous continuons à entraîner comme nous avons été entraînés. Donc pour cela, il va y avoir une présentation qui va être faite par M. Sherif El-Shemerly et qui va être traduite en français par notre ami Mayam Blaise, et Mathues, il va être en charge de la collecte des questions. Voilà, donc je laisse le parterre à nos invités. Sherif.
Okay. Thank you, Mohammed, for the introduction, and I would like to welcome you first, and also I would like to welcome my big brother Mayam. I would like to welcome Hisham. I would like to welcome all coaches in Africa and everywhere. I think today or tonight we will have a very important subject. I think we need to, as Mohammed said, to go and to understand the meaning of the words, and to start to think about how to change ourselves if we are coached the way we were coached. Also, I would like to thank John Castle, because he is the man who prepared this article, and I think also we will see the vision of the American volleyball and the top level volleyball moving during the webinar. Okay. Then I think also I would like to start now, if you don't mind. Okay. This article and this subject, apart from the impact of coaching. The impact of coaching is the manual of volleyball coaching in USA. And also, when we would like to talk about the impact of coaching, we have to say that entering the profession of coaching requires that coaches have a specialized body of knowledge. This knowledge is taught under a system, and there is an evaluation of what has been learned. Learn how to never be a child's lost way of coaching, new methods, and new visions. Also, this impact session will focus on developing an awareness of opportunities and responsibilities involved in coaching. Also, using the latest teaching methods to become a more effective and efficient coach. The next is identifying the best coaching resources to help you to do your job. Then, what is the impact of coaching, or what we have to concentrate in impact of coaching? Teach volleyball skills, help players to have fun, teach teamwork, build friendships, improve communication skills, help participants understand winning, learn a sport for a lifetime, foster emotional, psychological growth, and foster development. Mayam, please. Mayam. Open your mic, ma'am. Okay, unmute.
Yeah. Nous avons pris cet article pour amener les entraîneurs africains à pouvoir changer comment leur manière d'entraîner. Et cette vision est une vision d'orientation venant des États-Unis sur la question. Nous l'avons pris sur le manuel des entraîneurs des États-Unis. Ce qui est important, c'est de dire que l'entrée dans la profession d'entraîneur exige que les entraîneurs aient un corpus spécialisé de connaissances en la matière. Ces connaissances sont enseignées dans un système et il y a une évaluation qui doit être faite par rapport à ce système. Maintenant, l'impact ici, c'est apprendre comment ne jamais être, comme on a dit, dernier entraîneur de l'enfant. Cette session sur l'impact se concentre sur le développement, développer une prise de conscience des opportunités et responsabilités impliquées dans l'entraînement, utiliser les dernières méthodes pédagogiques pour devenir un coach plus efficace et plus efficient et identifier les meilleures ressources d'entraîneurs pour vous aider à faire votre travail. Cet impact se base sur certains éléments. L'enseignement des techniques de volleyball, aider les joueurs à s'amuser, enseigner le travail d'équipe, construire des amitiés, améliorer les compétences de communication à l'intérieur de votre groupe, aider les participants à comprendre la victoire, apprendre un sport pour le temps de votre vie, favoriser la croissance émotionnelle et psychologique et surtout favoriser le développement. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, we have to think when we are coaching that one of our role is growing the game everywhere, all over the world. And also we have to think about that we have to talk about facts, not opinions. And then we have to approach from this gate. We coach the way we were coached. There is a discussion happened between me and Mohammed, my brother Mohammed bin Hamida, before the live, that what do we mean about we coach the way we were coached? I mean that we don't need to be a child of our old coaches. We respect them, but every day we have a new methods, a new ways of coaching, a new ways of teaching players, and then we have to move in the presentation. The science of sport and biomechanics and motor learning and other disciplines have researched and found better, more efficient, and more successful ways of training. do as I say, not as I do. A lot of coaches is doing that because they taught by the old coaches like that. Many coaches are refused to change their coaching methods. This same coaches demand their athletes to change while they fail, take time to learn for themselves. Coaches get up to 12 times more contacts per hour than an individual player during practice. And this is one of the strongest traditions in our sport that gets in the way of the players learning. I mean that the coach is spiking towards 3 or 4 players, or he touched the ball every time. And when we count the number of touching the ball of the coach, it will get up to 12 times more contacts per hour for each player. Means that the coach is touching the ball more the players 12 times. We have to think about our game, our sport, that go for run or play volleyball. We have to ask ourselves, we are going to run or playing volleyball? The vast majority of coaches enter the gym, talk to the players, then get them running. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and go forward. And also here, I don't like anybody to understand that I'm against, because in the first part of our program, in the first part of our preparation, maybe we need running, but during the real time of coaching the team, if we need to add or to work and to ask our player to run, we have to do some ideas like we will talk about. The next is, does stretching help? It's a very important question, because when we start our warming up, all players will lie down on the ground and they will start to make stretching for 20 minutes or 25 minutes and so on. An important study showed that in over 300 stretching programs viewed non-reduced injuries. This doesn't mean that we are against stretching, but we have to do the stretching in the right time and for the right people and in the right way. I mean, if you have a cold weather and you need to make more warming up and more stretching, good stretching for your players. And if you have some players with special problems, I mean, they have old injuries or they need more stretching for some parts from the body, you can do that. But what we have to think about, we are against to do that for all the team for a very long time, and we lose a very important time in the training session. The last part, and Mayam will come. Time wasted on cooking for 5 or 10 minutes, running for 20 minutes or more or less, stretching for 25 minutes or more or less, then not touching the ball for 45 minutes and over. And our question is why? Mayam?
Merci. Nous allons revenir sur le fait que nous voulons faire grandir notre jeu. Nous voulons faire évoluer notre jeu à travers ce que nous avons appelé les faits et non les opinions. Et nous avons pensé que nous entraînons, en prenant le sujet, nous entraînons de la manière dont on a été entraîné. Ceci ne veut pas dire que nous sommes contre les anciens entraîneurs. Nous pensons que les sciences du sport, la biomécanique, l'enseignement et l'apprentissage moteur et d'autres disciplines ont, dans leur recherche, trouvé mieux que nous puissions avoir d'autres orientations d'entraînement qui seront plus efficientes et plus efficaces à faire. Nous avons le slide « Faites ce que je dis et non pas ce que je fais ». De nombreux entraîneurs refusent de changer leur nouvelle méthode d'entraînement. Ils demandent à leurs athlètes de progresser et de prendre le temps d'enseigner. Il y a des moments où les entraîneurs manipulent 12 fois plus de ballons pendant une heure que le joueur pendant l'entraînement. Et nous constatons aujourd'hui que c'est l'une des fortes traditions de notre sport qui entrave l'apprentissage des joueurs. Il a pris un autre cas qui est celui d'aller courir ou jouer au volleyball. La grande majorité d'entraîneurs entrent dans la salle de sport, parlent aux joueurs, puis les font courir au dehors. Il dit que nous ne sommes pas contre cette situation parce que nous savons qu'à la première partie de la préparation physique généralisée, on a besoin de courir. Mais nous pensons qu'à un moment donné, quand nous passons à la phase de préparation technique, à la phase de préparation spécifique, que nous puissions passer directement dans le cadre du volleyball. C'est la même chose pour les étirements. Il dit que nous ne sommes pas contre les étirements, mais une étude importante a montré que plus de 300 programmes d'entraînement, d'étirement n'ont pas pu réduire les différentes blessures. Nous ne sommes pas contre cette situation, mais il faudrait que ce soit fait à un bon moment en tenant compte des différences des joueurs que nous avons devant nous. En plus de ça, pour terminer, nous passons beaucoup de temps à perdre le temps, à bavarder pendant 5 à 10 minutes, courir pendant 20 minutes, s'étirer pendant 25 minutes, et à la fin, on se rend compte qu'on n'a pas pu toucher le ballon pendant 45 minutes. Il pose la question, pourquoi? Merci.
Thank you, Mayam. And also we have to think about coaches and players who know why beat the coaches and players who know how. We have to think about, we have to know our needs. We must not take a copy and paste from anywhere. We have to take the idea and to think about it, how to use it, the level of players, the gender, men or women, youth or juniors or many. I mean, we have to think about that. Or the other coaches or players who know how, they are doing like robots, and they will fail in a lot of problems because they don't understand the real details. And I advise every coach to think about details, very important. Then we will go in some points. We coach some example. We coach the way we will coach it. The first is Weber and ball control, serve and pass war, teaching defense, players get to spike, conditioning is a homework, slapping the volleyball, ball banging coaches, and coaches and box training. The first one is Weber and ball control. What the meaning of Weber? Weber in the ball is to spike towards your team mate, and then here where they return the ball for you, and you set the ball to him, and he will spike towards you, and you defend the ball. The problem is if you spike to him a little bit away from him, and you will say sorry because the ball didn't go towards him. And then in the match, you will not do that. You will not get the ball from that level of height. You will get the ball over the net, and nobody will ask you where you want the ball. They will spike the ball, and you have to defend the ball anywhere and anytime. Then digging a spike ball back to the attacker, spike ball straight back to where it came from, and hitting a ball right where you are facing. Having so much control that the players stand practically stationary and don't practice home to base movement. Hitting a ball down without a net. And the closer you get to your partner, the more down you can hit it. Hitting a ball basically right at the digger so they can dig it. And even apologizing if you don't hit right at the digger. Serve, pass, war. How many rotations until the player serves in the game? I think after he serve and finish, he has to rotate for 5 positions and return back. Volleyball always start with the serve, and that's why the serve is the most important skill in the new modern volleyball. Then the serve is our key for the game, and if you have a very powerful serve, efficient serve, your team will be a very strong team. Serving as cool down or at the end of practice for 5 to 10 minutes straight. Why? Almost the majority of all coaches in our continent or in our country here or in somewhere in all over the world, they do the serve at the last 5 to 10 minutes in the training session. And this is very, very wrong way of teaching the serve or to develop the serve, because in all skills you have to think how to manage the game like with the serve, to improve your serve and to do the serve and to think about the next skill after the serve. The next point is serve and watch. Why? Because in the real situation, we are not serving and watching the game. We will serve and go for the next skill. We have to defend the ball and to think about how to do the transitional period in a very efficient way. Mayam?
Thank you very much. Voilà, nous avons la situation où les entraîneurs qui jouent et les joueurs qui savent pourquoi gagnent les entraîneurs et joueurs qui savent comment. Parce que nous pensons qu'il y a un élément important à mettre en jeu, c'est celui du détail. Et là-dedans, on tiendra compte de l'âge, du genre et du niveau des joueurs. Nous avons donc pris 3 éléments que nous considérons comme des éléments importants. Les exercices qui sont les exercices attaque-défense, les exercices de contrôle de balle, le duel entre le service et la réception, et entre le service et la réception. On s'est rendu compte que généralement, la situation d'attaque-défense est une situation qui n'arrive pas facilement sur le terrain parce que sur l'aire de jeu, au moment où on est en train de jouer, ça se fait au-dessus du filet par rapport à notre partenaire. Et généralement, quand on tape le ballon à côté de celui-ci, il n'arrive pas à le défendre, il est obligé de dire « excusez-moi », alors qu'il doit être dans une situation de jeu normal. Le deuxième élément, c'est le duel, service et réception. Nous savons combien de rotations nous devons faire pour que nous passions au service, au moins 5 positions. Et en tenant compte de ces rotations et de l'importance du service aujourd'hui au volleyball, faire le service pendant 5 à 10 minutes comme élément de retour au calme, nous nous posons la question pourquoi? Alors que c'est une habileté importante dans le cadre de l'organisation du jeu. Et les habiletés toutes les habiletés doivent s'intégrer après le service. Le dernier élément ici, c'est servir et regarder. Nous pensons, on se pose la question pourquoi, alors que généralement sur l'aire de jeu, quand on a fini le service, on fait directement autre chose, soit pour défendre, soit pour se placer sur l'aire de jeu. Donc, faire le service ici doit s'intégrer dans toutes les situations de jeu, tout en refusant au maximum que ça se fasse à la fin de l'entraînement comme étant une activité de retour au calme, mais plutôt comme étant une activité qui fait partie intégrante du jeu compte tenu de l'importance de cette habilité.
Thank you, Mayam. I need only from all coaches to start to put the questions in the questions and answers part here in the Zoom, and then we will reply at the end of the webinar after we finish the presentation. The next is teaching defense, spiking balls from the middle of the net or in front of the net. I mean, the coach stand up in the middle of the net of his court and spike towards 3 players in the court and get the ball back, and again spike for the other defender and get the ball back. And every time he touch the ball and give the ball from standing position under the net in his court. This is a very far, position of or away from the reality of the game. I mean, it's not a game like, because we are defending the ball over the net, coming over the net from the other side. Then we have to think about that, reading the coach instead of reading of the opponent. I mean, we are reading the coach who is spiking the ball in the very low position in our court, and this is not good for defenders. The coach will contacted the ball several hundred times, while each individual player will only contact the ball 1,000 or 2 times. Why? We have to ask ourselves. The coach will touch the ball every time, and when the ball returns to him, he will touch the ball again and again and again, more, 10 times or 12 times more the player. Okay, the next tradition coming from we coach, the way we were coached, players get to spike. And it's a very important part in our traditions in volleyball, because all coaches, old-fashioned coaches, were doing like that. After they talk for 10 times in the beginning of the training session, they ask their players to run for 20 minutes or more, and then ask them to warm up for 40 minutes with stretching and more. Then we already finished like around 70 minutes from the 2 hours. And then after that, warming up with like peppering the ball, what we call it man-to-man or woman-to-woman, for 15, 20 minutes. And then now 90 minutes. We have 30 minutes. We asked, or they asked their players to spike on the net. The way like we would see now. Okay, they give the ball for the setter and get the ball back near from the net and spike the ball very deep in the other court, and without block, without game like, without a real like the game, and then they go under the net and run and go to spike again. And they do that for more than 30 minutes, and they lost another 30 minutes without playing a real volley game like. Then the players stand out of bounds outside the court and toss to the setter. Why? We have to ask ourselves. The players get set straight to the net, and after hitting lands and duck and run under the net. We have to ask ourselves also why. Because if we do that during the game, it's a fault for us. Hitting from zone 4 versus hitting from zone 2 drills. We have a nation of players who can hit left side. Why? Because it's a, you know, everybody would like to spike from position 4, but a lot of people doesn't like to spike from position 2 or 1. And this is a very wrong tradition. The coach tosses the ball standing either at the net and throwing sets, or standing with the ball cart in the back row. Why? Because this is, okay, we can do that sometimes, but maybe a few minutes when we need to warm up some players or so. But I believe that if we do that with an idea, with a key of drill, thinking about the game like, it will be more efficient and more help for our players. Conditioning is homework. Conditioning stations versus skill development stations. The problem is all coaches or old-fashioned coaches thinking a lot about doing the conditioning away from volleyball, away from touching the ball. And the new methods and a new way of thinking, doing that with touching the ball. We don't like that players don't touch the ball as much as we can, okay? The next is players know how to run and do setups. By the way, this is one of the ideas. Then if you need your players to do some conditioning drills or some of running or anything, you can do that and set the ball and run, or set the ball and do what you want and come back to set the ball. Then you are setting the ball, you are touching the ball, and you are, doing the conditioning at the same time. They can get a lot of game conditioning players playing short courts over a net or 1 versus 1 at a volleyball game station. Also, it's one of the ways of making the conditioning and doing 1 versus 1 or some other drills according to the coach plan. And by the way, also one of the good ideas, I was working sometimes for the what we call it wash games for to develop some conditioning needs during the game. Play 6 versus 6, and then doing what you want to give your players the program of conditioning. Also, maybe during the parts of cooling down during or giving the rest for some players during the game, like you can do also some push-ups or some other ideas for the conditioning program. We continue to run and condition them, but losing time. Why? We have to think about that running. My sport is your sport's punishment. Okay, some of our old-fashioned coaches think always about doing punishment for players by running, and this is not good, because teachers know that mistakes are simply opportunities to teach. When you have some mistakes and your players doing some mistakes, it's an opportunity to teach them, not to punish them to run. Okay, then think about the mistake as an opportunity. It's a valuable thing to go forward, not to punish your player. Coaches use mistake opportunities to make players run as punishment, and I don't agree about that. Running as a punishment, what do players learn from this, and why? Mayam?
Merci. Nous allons passer au troisième élément, l'enseignement de la défense. Nous avons fait un constat simple, c'est que généralement les entraîneurs se placent au milieu du filet ou en face du filet et il y a des exercices où ils travaillent avec deux ou trois joueurs et quand on regarde bien, le ballon ne vient pas de l'autre côté du terrain et on est loin de la réalité. Alors, il est important de lire au lieu de lire et de lire l'adversaire. L'entraîneur contactera plusieurs fois le ballon, tandis que les joueurs le toucheront en un peu de temps. Et c'est pour ça qu'il pose la question, pourquoi? Le deuxième élément, les joueurs sont serrés au filet et après avoir frappé le ballon, en termes d'exercice d'attaque, ils passent leur temps à attaquer et au poste 4 et au poste 2. Nous savons que les joueurs préfèrent attaquer au poste 4 que d'attaquer au poste 2. Le ballon est lancé donc par l'entraîneur vers le filet et il renvoie le ballon sur le joueur, ce qui est contre une situation qui ne peut pas se faire au cours du jeu. Le troisième élément, c'est le travail de la condition physique qui est considérée comme un devoir. Il y a une différence entre les structures de conditions physiques et les structures de développement de compétences. Les joueurs savent comment courir et faire les différents redressements, toujours le faire avec ballon en termes de préparation de la condition physique. Ils peuvent améliorer leurs conditions physiques adapté en jouant dans les conditions de 1 contre 1 sur des petits terrains, mais ceci dans le sens du jeu. Nous continuons à couvrir, à courir et à les préparer physiquement. Nous perdons du temps. C'est pour ça qu'on nous pose la question, pourquoi? En plus, les enseignants, nous savons que courir, notre discipline n'est pas une discipline de course. Les enseignants savent que les erreurs sont simplement des opportunités d'enseignement. L'entraîneur utilise ces opportunités d'erreur pour faire courir les joueurs comme punition, ce qui n'est pas normal. Et on pose la question de savoir, courir comme punition, qu'apprend-on exactement?
Thank you, Mayam. The next point is slapping the volleyball. I mean by slapping is some coaches are doing like that. When they would like to give the player sign to start the drill or to spike, or they do like that. Okay? Or like that. Coaching train their players to be late all the time. When you are doing like that, the player waiting for to get the approval to move to do the skill. In the reality, they are not. They will not wait because they have to move when they see the reality, the real game running. I mean the ball spiking towards them, then they defend the ball, or when they receive the ball, they go to spike, or not waiting for the slapping the ball. Okay. React and read a ball being slapped by the coach. Every time, if you are doing like that, the player waiting to read a ball being slapped from you as a coach, and we don't like that. Have you seen an opponent slap a ball in the match or in a match? Impossible. The most common tradition seen is to slap and have players back of the net calling free, and we it's the most important, or the most of our coaches doing that. Slap the ball and giving the ball free, easy ball, and continue playing. Okay, this way is making us or making our players very late. Are they learning to read and recognize what a free ball looks like? No, sure no. They will not recognize the free ball looks like. Players are trained to react to a slap. And every time, if the player used to do that, the slapping with the coach, during the match, you will find them a little bit late, waiting for the sign of the coach to move or to take the ball for the reception or to take the tip and so on. And this is not good. Players are trained to react to a slap and move off the net and the ball come over, learning to be late in a real match. Coaches continue to slap balls and watch their players respond. It's like that. They are doing the slapping, the coaches slapping, and watching their players, waiting for them to move or to do the action. And this is not good. The right way is to do that in a real way of playing volleyball, the game like. Okay, we have to think always about game like. Sometimes we need to move or to do some drills without a game like. I mean, yes, but we don't like to do this slapping method because this is not good for our players. Ball banging coaches, and this is another tradition from we coach the way we coach it. They will stand just off the court and bound a ball at the team on their side, or they turn their skill to the other side to hit over the net to zone 5 or 6. You will see that the majority of the coaches stand up near position 4 and position 5 and send the ball to the court, to the other side from outside the lines, the court. And if the ball coming from this side or from this point, it's a wrong place to get the ball for the other, for our team and the other court. And this is not good because also it makes the old players are waiting from the ball from a wrong position. This is first. The traditional coaches does this from standing off the court and on the left side. And that's why I mean a lot of coaches doing this tradition from left side. And they are not even do that from the right side, the same amount of balls, because they like to do that from that side. I don't know why, but I mean the surveys said that. Okay, the result is that the team does not get a ball coming at them to zone 1 or 2, because every time the ball coming from zone 5 or 6 to the other side, and this ball or balls that they didn't get balls from the other side from 1 or 2, and we have to ask ourselves why. The last one is coaches and box training, and here I would like to say one important topic or one important remark, that I'm not against the box training, but we have to think about our box training and why we are using boxes in our training, in teaching some skills or developing some skills, and we have to know how to do that. I mean, we will see now that we have to ask ourselves, are your players training 6 to 10 hours a day, year around? If you are doing that, yes, you can do the box training because you have, I mean, a good time to do the box training. But if not, you have to think about the game like, I mean, you have to think about the reality in the game. What about for those putting 4 to 10 hours a week? Okay, then for 4 or 10 hours a week, you will do that, and you will think about, you will lose a lot of time doing the skill with the box, and then there is no time for the what we call it, the game line. Players need every minute to learn the timing reading, adjustments, and need to hit and block live balls. That's why if we have time, yes, we can use the box training to develop and to teach the skills. And also we have to think we have enough time, that we have enough time for timing, reading, adjustments, and need to hit and block live balls, what we call it game live. Meanwhile, the diggers and blockers never learn to read anything but an opponent frozen in time up to the air. I mean, they are waiting for one opponent standing on the box and spiking towards them, and there is no live situation. Okay, we need that sometimes when we have time, as I told you, over there, when we have 6 hours to 10 hours a day, we can do that. But if we don't have, we have to think about more about the live situation, the game live. What do you have to watch to learn your timing when a coach or some other player is standing on the box, and why? If you have someone spiking, he will stand in the same place and spiking almost in the same direction every time, and you are not able on the other side to read what he is doing. I mean, but in the live, you will read the ball because the ball sometimes comes short or outside the net or outside little bit or fast or high, and then you will read and you will take the decision, and then you will get more sufficient information from that and going to develop and learn more. But we need that to help working for skill perfection. Sometimes we need to have the coach, the box training, to have more, work for the skill perfection. That's why I said I'm not against the box training, but we have to think how to use it. Then we have another important point: context per hour, increasing opportunities to respond. But before going to that, I will leave the floor to Mayam to translate it.
Voilà, nous avons les problèmes de signalement, la frappe de balle qui permet aux joueurs de se mouvoir. Et nous avons constaté que ceci entraîne généralement un petit retard tout le temps aux joueurs qui attendent justement le signalement de l'entraîneur sur le ballon, ce qui n'est pas une condition favorable pour l'enseignement et l'apprentissage de nos enfants, de nos joueurs. Et réagir et lire le ballon giflé par l'entraîneur. Généralement, c'est l'une des erreurs que nous faisons souvent avec nos enfants. Est-ce que nous voyons souvent un adversaire venir frapper la balle pendant un match pour que vous puissiez vous déplacer? Et deuxième élément, la tradition la plus courante est que chaque fois qu'on frappe le ballon, les joueurs sont obligés généralement de se crier. Calling, ils disent balle facile. Mais est-ce qu'ils prennent le temps justement à ce moment-là de se restructurer pour savoir que le ballon qui arrive est une balle facile qui n'est pas conditionnée par la frappe de balle de l'entraîneur? Les joueurs sont entraînés à réagir et ça pose donc un problème au niveau de la réaction de ces joueurs par rapport à leur manière de travailler. Un deuxième élément est lié au placement des entraîneurs sur le terrain au moment où ils frappent le ballon. Et il est dit que généralement, nous avons fait un constat simple, c'est que généralement, certains joueurs ne savent plus comment s'adapter en se tenant sur le terrain pendant que le ballon peut venir de la zone 1 ou de la zone 2, parce que tout le temps, les entraîneurs travaillent sur une seule zone, la zone 5 et la zone 6, ce qui nous permet de dire clairement qu'il faudrait être capable de faire varier les positions de retour de balle pour que justement, et de votre placement, pour que justement les enfants puissent transformer leurs compétences selon les positions sur le terrain. Le troisième élément ici, c'était l'utilisation de ce qu'il appelait le box d'entraînement. Et il pense que si vous avez 6 à 10 heures d'entraînement par jour pendant toute l'année, vous pouvez utiliser cet instrument qui vous permet de mieux appréhender et de mieux ajuster, lire et permettre à vos enfants de travailler normalement. Mais généralement, si vous n'avez que 4 à 10 heures, il est important, 4 à 10 heures d'entraînement par semaine, il est important de vous adapter à la situation de jeu avec les paramètres que nous appelons généralement le Game Lab, mais qui sont les paramètres de jeu et de contact normal. Il pense que nous avons plus besoin de travailler le perfectionnement de nos compétences pendant les entraînements que de donner, nous avons moins de temps que de donner le temps à nous adapter à d'autres paramètres organisationnels.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. The next point is context per our increasing opportunities to respond. And this is very important that we have to think about that. We have to know that those points will be the second part of our session. This session, we coach the way we will coach it. Next time, I don't know when, but we can go for that. But today, I will talk about only 2 points here: context per hour, increasing opportunities to respond, and no more techniques training, because I think it will touch a lot of things to make our coaches to understand we coach the way we were coached. If we will still coach the way we were coached, I think we are losing our way, and we have to think about the future. We have to think about the reality now that we have new methods and new ways of training. Then context per hour. I think the context per hour, increasing opportunities to respond. We learn by doing, not watching. Every time when we are touching the ball and doing, playing the ball, we will learn, not one player or 2 players playing the ball, playing with the ball, and other are watching. Then we learn by doing, not watching. How to do that? Again, we are talking about game life, or about apart from the game and game situations. Train in a game-like ways, increase the number of touches, and maximize this principle. You have to think about how to maximize this principle, because this is the heart of our working now as a coaches. Then running the mile under X minutes and running in lines. What we are doing by this, we are not, receiving or developing our volleyball. We are developing how to run, or the capacity of our physical fitness, or something like this. Running for warm-up, teaching the way I was taught. We don't have, I think we have to run, yes, but using and touching the ball, or doing a drill with a run, with running and touching the ball. This is a very bad way of coaching. Losers could be playing the other losers. Number 4 is coaches tossing. They lose the chance to read. Players lose a chance to read, and such a skill has zero value to their ability to read. coaching the way I was coached. It's this we were coached before. Coaches hitting who needs to be great at this important third ball over contact. I mean, who will do that? The player, not you ever. The players will be the important to touch the third ball. I mean, that they need your wisdom and guidance. You will never hit a third ball over the match, over the net in the match. Players will do that. Then they need your guidance, not your touching the ball. Too much explaining, and this is, I hate that, because coaches who is stopping every time the training session and giving advices and talk too much, they are taking players away of concentration. Then we have to reduce talking too much and leave the players do the contacts more. And you have to know how much or how many time your players touch the ball in the per hour in the training session. Enter the ball faster. This is very important way. Enter the ball faster. This is what wash scoring has done to traditional scrimmaging, giving 20 to 25% contacts per hour over the regular scrimmage. Before that, we were doing the old way, and we talk about that every time we warm up, papering the ball and giving that, and then spiking and do what we were doing before. But now, when we are doing this way of game like the wash scoring games, it gives more around 20 to 25, at least 20 to 25% more touching the ball during the drills and the training session. The last part will be no more techniques in training. And I think everybody will against technique. I'm not against technique, but I'm against that doing too much or taking too much time practicing technique. But you can do that in a good time, and then practicing the technique during the game and the game live, and we will see a very important example, and you will understand what the meaning of no more technique training. Nearly every coach I see is too caught up with talking about the skill being done at contact. All of our coaches, or the majority, is talking about what we are doing at contact, when the ball is coming and we doing the contact for the ball. Research being done in other sports. Said a lot about that, and we will see now, like soccer goalie training, films the action before contact, BC, before contact, and at contact, AC, at the stop filming, when providing teaching information to a goalie how to better defend, no flight of the ball time is recorded. And we can see that in a very important example, and I need everybody to concentrate to understand this very important example. The importance of preparation, reading, and anticipation over actual contact can perhaps best be seen with these facts from the Beijing 2008 Olympics. And this important example happened in Beijing Olympics games in 2008. The average of USA players contacted the ball 17 times per set. In the indoor games, 44 times for beach. Then for USA indoor team, the average for touching the ball per set for USA player, for all players, for each player, 17 times per set in each game, okay? And for beach volleyball, 44 times, okay? Both teams played 8 matches in their runs to the gold medal finals. Average 4 sets per match. Then they play 8 matches, average 4 sets, means that they play around 32 sets. Most coaches don't know the average contact periods per skill. All of us don't know the average period of touching the ball in skill, okay? So I will share those now. 0.10 seconds for, and when we set the ball and touch the ball, it will take 0.10 seconds. And 0.05 for passing the ball, 0.05, the ball touching our body, 0.05 seconds. 0.01 seconds for hitting the ball, I mean, like that, and but the ball leave our hand, it will take 0.01 second, very fast. And 0.03 for blocking, when the ball like this and block the ball, and then it will take 0.03 second, less than, I mean, it's around 30% from the second. So using average contact time of 0.05. I mean, the average of all skills is 0.05. I mean, half of second, 50% of second. The average total time of contact by player through entire Olympic Games was 27.4 seconds. I mean, all players touched the ball for 20, I mean, each player from all players touched the ball for 27.4 seconds in 8 matches, okay? I mean, in 8 matches, each match is 4 sets. We are talking about 32 sets. They touched the ball around 27 to 28 seconds. Each player touched the ball around 28 seconds. Means that it's not about the contact as much as it's about the preparation for contact that we must get better at teaching. That means that we have to think about the preparation for contact the ball, when we have to move, how to move, and when to touch the ball, the speed, and how to think about after, I mean, doing the skill to move, to be ready for the next movement, and so on. Then it's no more techniques. We must think about the other ways to lead us for the good technique. The last thing is drills and feedback and technical training will be important forever. I just hope you also to realize the importance of the words game and forward in maximizing your impact as a teacher and in teaching more of the game between contacts than ever before. And we have to think about this word, this important words. The game teaches the game. Okay, Mayam.
Okay. Il a parlé tout à l'heure, le contact par heure de plus en plus est une opportunité de réponse. Gagner et perdre sont temporaires les amitiés durent pour toujours. Le jeu, le feedback est important dans la formation du jeu. Et il faut redescendre un peu pour que je regarde les autres éléments. Service, réception, limiter la lecture, limiter le travail sur le mur. Il faut arrêter d'enseigner la course. Il faut arrêter de créer les situations de balle faciles. Il faut arrêter d'enseigner l'attaque en tant qu'élément de jeu. Maintenant, le contact par heure. Il pense que si nous devons courir le plus longtemps possible, nous ne sommes pas là pour enseigner les gens à courir. Courir pour s'échauffer, c'est vrai, mais il faut le faire en touchant au ballon. Et comme il disait, les perdants pourraient jouer les autres perdants ou quelqu'un d'autre. Les entraîneurs qui lancent le ballon et qui créent des situations de compétence zéro auront toujours à créer auprès du joueur les situations d'entraînement. Les entraîneurs frappent les ballons et il est important pour eux d'éviter de passer la troisième balle parce que ce n'est pas à eux à faire passer la troisième balle dans le camp adverse. C'est plutôt aux joueurs à le faire. Ils ne le feront jamais. Ils sont là pour les besoins de sagesse et de conseil. Le sixième élément ici nous parle de passer le temps à expliquer. Nous pensons que, et Sherif le dit, évitons au maximum d'expliquer, laissons les enfants à être en situation d'apprentissage et de travail. L'autre dernier élément, tous les entraîneurs sont occupés à parler de compétences et à effectuer pendant les contacts. Ils pensent que nous avons à enseigner aux enfants à apprendre à travailler sur les éléments de contact. La recherche en cours s'est faite dans le cadre de la formation du gardien de but qui filme l'action avant le contact et sûrement après le contact. Et ceci permet justement de donner des informations pédagogiques sur la façon de mieux se défendre pendant le jeu. Ce qui est important dans cette intervention, c'est l'importance de la préparation de la lecture ainsi que de l'anticipation par rapport au contact. Ici, il a pris les Jeux de Beijing, les Jeux olympiques de Beijing de 2008, où la moyenne de joueurs américains ont contacté 17 fois par set le ballon, pendant que ceux du volleyball de plage le contactent 44 fois. Toutes les équipes ont discuté près de 32 sets, c'est-à-dire 4 sets en moyenne pour 8 matchs. Et il s'est avéré que la plupart d'entraîneurs aujourd'hui ne connaissent pas la moyenne de contact que nous devons avoir. Et il a pensé qu'il devait nous donner cette moyenne de contact, ce qui est très important pour nous. Il pense que le passeur touche le ballon en 10e de seconde. La réception se fait à la moitié de la 10e de seconde. L'attaque se fait à la 10e de seconde. Le bloc se fait à 3/10 de seconde. Et quand vous regardez très bien, vous vous rendez compte que la moyenne de tous les contacts qui se font pendant le jeu se font plutôt pour réussir, se font plutôt à la moitié de la seconde. Ça veut dire, et il a dit que tous les joueurs ensemble pendant les Jeux olympiques ont eu à toucher au ballon pendant 27,4 secondes, donc entre 27 et 28 secondes. Ça veut dire qu'il ne s'agit pas de mettre un accent particulier sur le contact. Ce qui est important, c'est d'améliorer la situation de préparation, de lecture et d'anticipation. En plus, il a parlé de l'exercice. Les exercices, la rétroaction et la formation technique seront toujours importantes. Il espère que nous devons tous nous réaliser l'importance du mot « jeu » pour maximiser le travail et l'impact en tant qu'entraîneur pour que nous puissions donner à nos enfants la capacité de pouvoir améliorer leurs différents contacts pendant le jeu.
Thank you, Mayam. I need to return here to give more explanation for this information that when each player touched the ball 17 times in each game, then in 17 times in 32 sets, I mean 17 times each game, 17 touched the ball for each player in each game, each set. In each game, we have to 17 around 68 touches to the ball. In 8 matches, 544 touches. In 8 matches, each player, the average touching the ball 544 times. And we said that 50% from the second, then we are talking about 27 seconds, around 27 to 28 seconds per all matches. In the 8 matches, each player average to touch the ball 27 to 28 seconds.
Je voudrais,
the last part. Okay,
please.
Okay,
Yeah, it's very important to talk about that. Il dit que un joueur touche 17 fois le ballon au cours d'un match et au cours d'un set. Et nous avons ici la possibilité d'avoir, pendant ces Jeux de Beijing, 32 sets. Ça veut dire que les joueurs avaient 544 possibilités de toucher le ballon, dont le temps varie entre 27 et 28 secondes. Very good.
Thank you. Then the last part will be practice objective. Shouldn't be a secret. And sometimes we see the old-fashioned coaches or some of our coaches, when the player asks them, what we are going to do, coach, and he start to say, oh, I will make a surprise to you. This is not good. What makes a coach good teacher? We have to think about that. Characteristics of highly successful coaches. Never try to teach a big to sing. It wastes your time and annoys the big. I mean, then what makes the coach a good teacher is communication, storytelling, and player improvement, empowerment. Okay. Characteristics of highly successful coaches. They committed to individual integrity, value, and personal growth. Profound thinkers who see themselves as educators, not just coaches. Well educated, formally and informally, in a liberal arts tradition. Long run commitment to their athletes and their institution. Willing to experiment with new ideas. Value the coach-player relationship, winning side, and very important to think about winning side. Understand and appreciate human nature, and love their sports and work. then honest and strong in character, human, and therefore imperfect. Okay, Mayam?
Yes, les objectifs de la pratique de l'entraînement ne devaient pas être un secret. Les objectifs de la pratique ne devaient pas être un secret. Qu'est-ce qui fait un entraîneur, qu'est-ce qui fait d'un bon entraîneur un enseignant? Les caractéristiques des entraîneurs très performants ne tentent jamais d'apprendre à chanter un cochon. Si cela vous fait perdre votre temps et agace au cochon. Qu'est-ce qui fait d'un entraîneur un bon enseignant? C'est la communication, c'est la conversation en termes de narration et c'est l'autonomisation des joueurs en termes de savoir et de savoir prise en charge. Les caractéristiques des entraîneurs très performants, c'est qu'ils sont attachés à une intégrité individuelle, aux valeurs et au développement personnel. D'autres doivent se considérer comme des éducateurs et pas seulement des entraîneurs. Bien éduqués officiellement et officieusement dans la tradition libérale, comme on dit. Engagement à long terme envers de leurs athlètes et de leurs institutions. Ici, nous faisons appel à l'estime que nous avons à notre institution, la volonté d'expérimenter de nouvelles idées en tant qu'entraîneur, valoriser la relation joueur-entraîneur, comprendre et apprécier la nature humaine, aimer notre sport et notre travail, être presque honnête, l'honnêteté et la force de caractère, et savoir que nous sommes des humains, donc imparfaits.
Okay. The last slide is never try to teach a pig to sing. It wastes your time and it annoys the pig. I mean, by the pig is this animal. Don't try to teach the animal, and I don't like, of course, to say that about human being, but I mean, don't try to teach anybody who don't like to receive information, because he will annoy you. And if you want to teach him, also try to teach him in the right way. Then he will enjoy and give you the feedback in a good way. Whiteboard, and because we spoke here about communication and storytelling and player empowerment, then we can understand here your effectiveness in practice and what do we want to get out of this. Is very important, because if you are coaching one team and you bring a whiteboard in your practice or your your session, and you put the whiteboard in the court, and then you write what we are going to do this training session, and then your players before the training session start to read, to understand what we are going to do. They will prepare themselves. They will start to say, yes, I will do that in this in maximum, and they start to prepare themselves internally to do a good training session. Share as specifically as possible is vital to having a successful training period. Do you remember what good teachers did? They wrote what was expected on the chalkboard. Every time you have to write what you expect from your players and from your team, assistants, and so on. Then when you are doing that, there is a good communication between you and them. Always teach so that players know it and remember it. Okay, every time you have to teach, and your player will know and remember what you are teaching them. Of course, by writing before. Competition determines how will players learn. And also you have to understand that you are not able to understand or to evaluate your players if he already learned from you or improve or not without a competition and you evaluate him in the competition. Too often coaches think that just because they teach, learning happens, but for sure the big is not learning. Every time some of the coaches doing like a way of systematic way of teaching. I mean, when they are teaching the information or giving the information to the player, he must understand and finish. They close. Of course, the different we have different players. Some of them understand from the first word, and others needs more repetition, and some of others didn't understand what you are saying and need more explanation, and so on. Then we have to think about communication and give the communication a very good support to get a good place. Mayam?
Voilà, la dernière slide ici nous interpelle sur ne tente jamais d'apprendre à chanter à un cochon, comme on dit. Ça te fait perdre ton temps et ça agace le cochon. Et il pense que l'utilisation d'un tableau, on appelle ça le tableau noir, en termes de tableau sur lequel on peut écrire les objectifs à atteindre et ce qu'on attend des joueurs, il pense que ce tableau pourrait maximiser l'efficacité de la pratique pendant les séances d'entraînement. En plus, partager aussi spécifiquement que possible est essentiel pour avoir une formation réussie parce que ça permet aux joueurs de savoir exactement ce qu'on attend d'eux, de savoir quel type de réponse ils vont nous donner. Il pense aussi que enseigner les joueurs est un élément important dans la formation et que le joueur le sache et s'en souvienne le plus longtemps possible. Un autre élément, c'est la compétition détermine dans quelle mesure le joueur a atteint un certain niveau d'apprentissage. Vous savez que dans le processus d'apprentissage des habiletés techniques, et quand il aura fait dans les conditions faciles, les conditions difficiles et les conditions variées, il doit passer par les compétitions pour juger justement et déterminer la mesure de son niveau d'apprentissage. Trop souvent, les entraîneurs pensent que simplement parce qu'ils enseignent, l'apprentissage se produit, mais comme il dit, le porc n'apprend pas. Il est donc important que nous puissions amener les enfants à savoir ce qu'ils vont faire, ce qu'on attend d'eux et à pouvoir les évaluer en situation de compétition.
Thank you, Mayam. Then, guys, I already finished my presentation, and I would like to thank you all for your attention and waiting for the questions. I would like also to welcome Joel Matthew, my brother Joel Matthew, and I ask him to lead the questions, please. Mohammed, if you have anything to say, I'm ready. Hello, Joel.
No, it's okay. So the floor is on behalf of Joel. It's okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Sherif, for the great presentations. Quite valuable one, and I think I want to go to some questions to save some time. I would like to start with a question from Dr. Suyawo. His question is, how do you manage skills training and physical training on beginners age 16 to 18 years old? I think I will just give you one question, then you respond, and then I will ask you the next question again.
Okay,
Sherif?
yes, please. First of all, we are not today talking about physical preparation, okay? We are talking about motor learning or a way of thinking about training or coaching. But in brief, we can do that. What I'm advising coaches is doing that and putting at the same time using the ball for in the training session. By the way, I will give one example. If we are doing one training session or one drill in a one training session in a special part from the preparation period in the beginning, I think sometimes we need to improve endurance. And when we take one example like doing a wash game, that we won, the wash game is two balls, two rallies. And one rally is serving the ball, and the other rally will, who will win the two rallies in the row, and then win the big point. But in endurance, how to use physical fitness, we can do like that we serve, and this is one rally, and then if you want to win the big point, you have to win this rally and to win another five rallies or 10 rallies. I know that it's very difficult, drill, but here we are improving the endurance, the special endurance for physical fitness with touching the ball. We didn't leave the court. We are using the ball in the drill, and we can do that. According to the age of the players. We have to design your needs, to know your needs, and to design your drills according to your needs. Okay, Mayam, please. Mayam, unmute your microphone, please, Mayam. Okay.
Yeah. Il est important de savoir ce qu'on devrait faire pour l'amélioration de notre préparation physique. Et Sherif répond en disant que ce soit les enfants, et puis il a ciblé les enfants entre 16 et 18 ans. Sherif a été clair que les exercices soient faits sur le terrain avec ballon et améliorant justement l'endurance spécifique qui est nécessaire pendant l'organisation, pendant la préparation de l'enfant. Donc, il pense que les exercices doivent être des exercices d'endurance, utiliser le ballon et utiliser le terrain pour justement améliorer l'endurance spécifique de nos enfants. OK.
All right.
Joel, okay, my brother, the next.
Yes. Yes. I would like to. I was saying that the other question was from Moro, but Doctor's question is as follows. He is asking how we explain to our athletes that our new method of coaching were new ideas and more effective than old. Because maybe some of them have learned from old coaches that use old method. You got the question?
Yes. it's a good question, okay, but I need to say to the coach or all coaches that it's the old war. I don't like to use war, but it's the old game between the old information and the new information. It's always like that in all our life. By the way, if your father or my father, you ask him to use the laptop now, he don't know how to do that. He would like to write by his hand, and we stop writing but by our hand. They have to think about okay, they are the old people like to do the same as they already teach before. But in our way, we have to take the good way to convince them. And the most important thing to convince them is to give them the results in the reality. I mean, when they see that players are improving and they are winning, they will they will understand that it's a different way of training and it's better, and it's not away from their opinions, but it's a new model, because we are not using the same cars like the old cars. We are now have new models, new techniques, new way of changing the ideas. This is first. Second, I would like to tell him that from the beginning of my career in teaching volleyball or coaching volleyball, I think I had a lot of people against what I was doing, and they were talking that he's saying wrong information to players, and they are not doing. They are not performing well. At the end, now players who will talk about you, about the new methods, about how to teach them in a new way, and they will convince other coaches, and also the family of volleyball, always trying to think about the new methods. Okay, but my advice is to take it in a friendly way of convincing, and try to get or to change as much as you can. Thank you.
La question ici porte sur l'effectivité de l'entraînement des anciens par rapport aux jeunes qui travaillent avec les anciens. C'est-à-dire que est-ce que les changements imposés ou bien les changements perçus actuellement permettront aux anciens de pouvoir changer. Et Sherif dit qu'il faudrait que les jeunes puissent montrer justement le meilleur d'eux-mêmes et démontrent l'importance des nouvelles méthodes en utilisant justement d'autres manières de penser et d'autres manières de voir les choses dans l'entraînement en volleyball. Et il a pris son exemple, qui dit que quand il a commencé à entraîner, beaucoup de gens ont parlé, et aujourd'hui, ce sont les joueurs qui ont travaillé avec lui qui arrivent à convaincre les autres. Et en tant que président de la commission des entraîneurs d'Afrique, il pense que sa vision est d'amener les entraîneurs africains à entrer justement dans la nouvelle manière de concevoir et de voir l'entraînement.
Thank you, Sherif. We will go to the next question.
Okay.
The next question.
Yes, please.
Yes. I'll go to the next questions. The next question is from Shadrik.
Okay.
What is basically asking is asking that can we say the use of machines like saving machines and those used by coaches to attack a ball hanged on a rope are not of any value? You got the question?
Yeah, sure. This is a good question, and also, by the way, we had a long discussion with John Castle about that. But we said that nothing is complete except God. Every time we are talking about the majority of time, the maximum time you can go for the live is better, but sometimes you have to work for extra quality of skills. I mean, we have now service all over the world. The speed of the serve is 138, like this Nishida from Japan, 138. I saw Leal from Brazil. One time he was serving 135, 135. That's why, I mean, we are not able to get this service in Africa, by the way. That's why we need some other, extra tools to help us to find this speed. On the other side, the way is to do the both. I mean, to have time to use those machines, and also to have a good time to make a real game live. Okay, thank you.
Le problème ici, c'est la question est de savoir l'utilisation des machines de service est-ce que pourrait améliorer justement les différentes habiletés techniques. Ils pensent que c'est important. Ils en ont discuté avec John Kessel et les entraîneurs américains. Il a d'ailleurs vu certaines machines qui avaient des vitesses de 138 km/h ou de 135 km/h, mais il pense que nous devons rester. Ici en Afrique, nous n'avons pas ces machines. Nous devons avoir le temps de les utiliser si on en a les possibilités, mais il faudrait rester focus sur l'organisation de notre travail en termes de game lag, c'est-à-dire avoir tous les paramètres qui sont liés au jeu pendant justement nos séances d'entraînement.
Right.
Joel, can I please interfere if you allow me?
Go ahead.
Yes, I have just some remarks for our coaches in Africa. As Sherif said that there is, let's say, a battle between the old school and the new schools of coaching, and it should take time. Don't worry about testing, trying, because it's an eternal, let's say, fight. And at the end of the day, for sure that you will succeed. But I would like just to emphasize and to open mind of people that what this concept, the John Castle concept, or from where it comes because they have a system of clubs. So the club system is belong to schools. It's not like in Africa when we have clubs, etc. So players are in place, and they have a concept beside that they should, the player should consume net and balls during the training session. He should consume that. Donc c'est la consommation du ballon et du filet. And that's why Sherif spoke about stretching. Because in this context and in this concept, the players, they are coming to train ready. I mean, they consume the balls. So that's why it should take time, and you have to think about how you can change the mentalities. It's an education. It's a long-term education. It will not come tomorrow or after tomorrow. You have just to test, learn, and learn, and then things will come. So this is the first advice. Then the second thing is that Mr. Sherif he spoke about a drill or skill training goalkeepers or something like that. So don't forget also that in US, they are also consuming a lot IT. One of the tools they are using there is that's the software called Dartfish. And in Dartfish, there is an option or there is a tool called in the action. It means that when the player is, let's say, just serving, entering, doing a skill, then he is called by his coach, just reading what he did and come back again. So I think that also with that, as technology now, every single coach, he has his own telephone. He can do that, not in the action, but he can record it. So the technology is also helping the coaches. So it was just an advice, and don't be, don't worry about testing and trying to change your mind, because every new thing is difficult to accept. So we have to accept those new concepts according to our mentality and according to our, let's say, our environment. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for that advice. I think in addition to that, coaches, we must understand that a human being is a creature of habit. I think what Sherif was explaining here is just to teach new habit. Human being will be able to capture this. Sherif, please, the next question from Amadou. Ask, when did the US start this way of coaching? And comparing to their best players, former and current one, did they mention a very big difference? They talk about in comparison from the previous players and the new ones in terms of this new system.
I think we have to run, by the way. We have only 18 minutes to go. Then I will answer the question of Amadou. I think this is when USA started that. I think we have to read the history of volleyball and to know that Doug Beal and Carl Magoon and their team in USA started that in the 70s. In the mid of 70s, they were preparing the team of USA for Olympic Games in Los Angeles. And during this period, before this period, nobody was talking about volleyball in USA, that they are a normal team and they're doing a normal, volleyball. And sometimes some of our countries, especially in North Africa, were beating them and so on. And they surprised the world in Olympic Games 1984 in Los Angeles with the new ways of, the new level. And when they start to show till the mid of, or the beginning of 90s, a new volleyball with the new ways of reception with two players, and when Doug Beal start to talk about the new ways of teaching the volleyball, during this period, the other, old school coming from Russia and from, old Germany and so on, and Czech Republics and so on, they start to try to change themselves. And at the end, we saw the big improvement and development of players in USA, but it's a long story. I'm only answering the question of Mamadou. Mayam, please.
Oui, la question ici est de savoir à quel moment les États-Unis et pourquoi ils ont choisi d'orienter leurs entraînements. Je voudrais répondre à l'interrogation, pas l'interrogation, mais à la contribution de Mohamed Benhamida sur l'introduction de la nouvelle vision de l'entraînement. Je pense que Sherif a répondu à ça en pensant que les États-Unis ont suivi les gens depuis Los Angeles et il était donc question que l'on puisse savoir qu'est-ce qu'ils ont choisi comme nouvelle orientation pour atteindre justement ce niveau de performance. Je pense qu'il est important que les entraîneurs africains continuent à se mobiliser pour avoir justement le temps de se concentrer sur la technique. Moi, je pense que physiquement, ils sont au point. Nos joueurs ont la capacité d'être au point. Et la différence va se faire au niveau technique et peut-être tactique.
All right. Thank you, Mayam. I don't know whether, Mayam, you explain also the very valuable advice from Mohammed. Did you also give a short explanation?
But about what? About the fact that USA has decided to take this new way?
Yeah, the advice, yes, the advice from Mohammed. He had a good, valuable advice to the coaches.
He talked about the biomechanics program, Dartfish.
Voilà, il est important de penser que aujourd'hui, que ce soit en biomécanique, que ce soit en sport, que ce soit dans tous les autres paramètres d'évolution des sciences humaines, il y a un type d'évolution que nous devons adapter à l'évolution du volleyball par rapport au contexte africain. Je crois que pour conclure ce paragraphe aujourd'hui, Sherif a voulu nous faire comprendre que nous avons un type d'évolution que nous devons intégrer parce que justement, ce type d'évolution fera décoller le volleyball africain.
Okay, Joel.
All right. We have a number of questions. We have to run through them quickly. We are running out of time.
Yes.
I will give you the next question, Sherif. Atangis just want you to please elaborate on coaches and the box training. He's a little bit lost. We just want you to give some explanations quickly.
I will give an example to explain. When you are coaching and you are doing a drill for block, and you or your assistant coach or one of the players stand on the box and start to spike to a blocker, and this blocker is doing a block. At this time, you will not get the all directions of the ball and all heights. I mean, the same throwing the ball and spike the ball to the block, the same. Maybe you will change. I mean, in a few tries, you will change direction. But I mean, the better is when you are doing that in a game live. When you in a game, the ball coming to the setter, and the setter sometimes give the ball very high or very fast, or outside the net, or near the net, or sometimes near the antenna. Or different situations. Then the player can read every time better when the ball he blocked the ball in a live drill. Okay, this is. But we don't say that we will not use the box drills, but we can use it in. When we have time for that, we have enough time in the training session for improving one of the skills. Okay, Mayam, very fast, please. Brief.
Oui, ici, il a pris un exemple simple, l'exemple de l'attaque au-dessus d'un support, l'attaque au bloc. Et il dit que cette situation est une situation. Si vous avez du temps de le faire, en ayant peut-être 6 heures d'entraînement par jour, c'est facile de le faire. Mais si vous n'avez que 4 à 10 heures par semaine, vous êtes obligé de passer par les situations de game-like, c'est-à-dire que les paramètres de jeu tel que ça se fait en situation de compétition. On n'est pas contre cette situation, mais on pense que la situation du travail de bloc dont il a pris la charge tout à l'heure, la balle doit venir du passeur parce qu'elle permet de savoir quelle est la vitesse, quelle est la hauteur, est-ce que ce ballon est près de l'antenne, est-ce que ce ballon est loin de l'antenne, est-ce que ce ballon va vite ou va lentement. Le joueur au bloc apprend à lire avant de faire son bloc. Ceci nous amène donc à penser qu'il est important justement de mettre tous les paramètres de jeu chaque fois que nous sommes dans une situation de jeu. Sauf que nous ne sommes pas contre l'utilisation d'un matériel pour améliorer un pan ou bien une petite partie d'activité sur une habilité technique.
The next question. Trying to. Peacock is. Peacock?
Joel, there is a question on the other block. On the other block. So Paul Bitok is asking, which methods can we use to have good relationship with our players apart of training?
This is a good question, but it's I mean, I will reply also by my beliefs. If you make your player, first of all, enjoy the training session and feel that he is developing and understanding what he is doing and feel that he is improving and see himself or herself doing a good volleyball or playing good volleyball, they will believe you and they will, I mean, go for away from the training and to have a good time with you during the game and or during the training session or during playing or away from the training session or playing. Also, we have to think about the new methods of making our players developing good. Like we were talking about game like, we have to talk also about scoring system and how to use the score in the training session. Then players enjoy and improve and develop. Also, we have to talk about how to use the extra time to make a good analysis and to watch a good videos and to have a good time to believe that we are a good team, a good, I mean, people sharing each other in our beloved sport. Okay, thank you, Mayam.
Bitok a posé la question de savoir quelle relation avec le joueur, quelle relation qu'on peut avoir avec le joueur. Je pense que ici c'est une relation qui est une relation d'évolution. Le joueur doit être convaincu qu'il fait du bon volleyball et qu'il évolue chaque fois à travers, Sherif a donné quelques éléments, à travers le score qui permet au joueur d'être content et d'être fun au moment du jeu et partager, être capable de partager tous les moments ensemble pendant et après l'entraînement et surtout être capable de partager les bons moments pendant les situations de compétition.
One more question from my side. Hadija Namonda is asking, high-level training model of training. How do we apply this model to low-level teams and beginners, especially skill acquisition, basically the core of volleyball?
Okay. First of all, I would like to welcome the president of Uganda Federation, my sister Khadija, because I'm thanking her very much. She is supporting us a lot, and she's doing marvelous efforts in Uganda to develop volleyball, and in Africa also to develop volleyball. I would like to thank her also about the question. The question is very important. We said that the coach is a designer, and he must think about the level of the team or the players. he has to think about the concepts. We were talking today about concepts. On the other side, my advice is the scoring system. We have a lot of ideas for the young young players and low-level players. And also on the other side, we have a lot of way of teaching volleyball in 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2, and also it's a game like. But my advice is to do that fashion, and I think we can do that also over the net, because our game is playing over the net in the court. On the other side, in the next time, the next part, we will talk about wall drills, and we have to limit the wall drills because a lot of coaches in the past was using the wall drills a lot, and they were, killing the feeling first, the important skill, which I believe it's the 7th in skills, reading, killing the reading, and on the other side, it's boring the player and push the player to escape from our beloved games. Then I'm not talking about not using the wall drills, but I mean limit the wall drills and using some exciting drills to attract players to play volleyball and to make it also in a good way. On the other side, by the way, one time we had a meeting in FAVB for instructors, and John Kessel surprised us. He put a rope in the meeting room, and he started to explain that his new way of teaching or to attract the young players is to ask them to spike from the beginning on the rope, over the rope. And he of course, it's very difficult because the ball is little bit, maybe the weight of the ball is not good for the player. He prepared a balloon and put a tape, and he asked the young player to make the spike, to attack. Okay, then the way is to help your player to teach them in a good, proper way, in a normal and way. By, of course, we are teaching them the skills. Okay, but on the other side, we can do that in some small competitions, small ideas, score, and using the net and attracting them to enjoy, to come again, and to prepare them for the future. We can use the concept. We have to modify the concepts to young players.
Voilà. La question ici, c'est celle de savoir les acquisitions techniques pour les jeunes. Nous pensons qu'il faut d'abord savoir le niveau du joueur et les amener à jouer. Ici, nous proposons les situations de 1 contre 1, 2 contre 2 et les situations des paramètres de jeu avec l'ordonnancement des différentes habiletés techniques au-dessus du filet. Et nous pensons que les habiletés par rapport au mur ne sont pas mauvaises, mais il faut au maximum les diminuer. Et il a pris l'exemple justement de la relation avec John Kessel lors d'une réunion à la FIVB avec les autres instructeurs, où il pense que l'attraction que l'on peut créer au niveau des enfants pour leur enseigner le volleyball, c'est de leur donner d'abord la possibilité de faire des attaques. Ceci aidera les joueurs à apprendre certaines habiletés techniques au-dessus du filet et à prendre en compte justement le filet comme étant un élément fondamental dans l'apprentissage des habiletés techniques.
Thank you very much, Mayam. Mohammed, I think we reached the end now. And sorry for the other question, Jewel. And thank you very much for your efforts, Jewel. Thank you very much for you, Mayam. And Mohammed, you can close, please.
You are welcome. You are welcome, Sherif. I'm great.
So thanks again for this available presentation, Sherif, Mayam, and Joel. Thanks a lot. And I think that I believe that we have as let's say managers of let's say both volleyball and beach volleyball, we have, and also as people who are running the, let's say, the new method of training, we have to support our coaches on daily basis, and we have some ideas on that. Maybe within let's say a couple of weeks, we will back with some proposal to our coaches in terms of this kind of or if this of this concept. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you next Friday with Mayam. So Mayam, prepare yourself. I think that you have a presentation to do. So we will support you for this during this week, but we will leave you during the presentation alone. Thanks a lot. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Hashem. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye.